It's 4 o'clock on a Monday. You know what that means. It's time to bring my level down for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Yeah, baby. The microphone's closer this week. And thank you, band. Thank you, fake audience. Hello, real audience. Let me get the chat room open. And there you guys are. Only Road Rally people today. Hopefully more people will be watching this after hours tonight because there's going to be good stuff in this episode. Hello, everybody. Gloria, Peter, Juliet, Bubbles, Score Crazy. There they go. Seth, Russell, Sonolab, Mark Doyle, Nick Moxham. Hello, Nick. Vanderbo. Pedro Costa. Hey. Rob Spencer, Peter Rahill. Anyway, the whole gang is here, at least the regulars. I am getting very excited and scared to death about the road rally. It's this time of year where I start losing sleep. And I think it was last week I was out of town. I had to fly to Orlando and then back. Was home on Monday. Had a bunch of road rally stuff to do and then flew out again on Tuesday. As I mentioned before, I had to fly to Israel for a family thing and then back again on Sunday. And I have not had a day off yet. I worked all weekend long on road rally stuff. I am crispy, to say the least. But I got to tell you, I'm a little later than usual publishing the ballroom schedule for the road rally for this year. It's like 99.5% done. I think we're going to probably post it in this forum on the website later tonight, so it'll be up tomorrow. It's coming together really, really well. We're changing some cool stuff, or doing some new stuff this year at the Road Rally that we've never done before, and I think you guys are going to have a blast. So, without any further delay, let me talk about one thing I saw you guys talking in the chat room right before I went live, which is people who are regulars in the forum, the taxi forum, which many of you are, want to be able to identify other forum members when they walk by them. You know, with more than a couple thousand people there, it's easy to miss people. So forum members started this on their own years ago, which is going to Staples or an office supply store and getting those colored dots. I'm looking around my desk to see if I have any. I do not. But, you know, they're the like half-inch wide fluorescent green, fluorescent red, fluorescent blue, yellow, what have you, colored dots. And they put those on their road rally badge so that when people walk by them in the hallway or see them in the ballroom or a class, whatever, they go, oh, there's a fellow taxi forum member, and they check to see who it is. And it's funny because, like, I know a lot of you guys like the Element. I don't know the Element's real name, but I know the Element. So it's really good, a good way for you guys to spot each other. And I think that you should probably do it. Somebody just said, Nick says Casey usually has stickers. Yeah, if you can find Casey, spend $2, buy the stickers. Russell's holding his pass with the dot up on the screen. Can you guys see it? Anyway, it's a cool thing to do. It lets other people who are regulars to the forum and regulars to Taxi TV know that you're a member of that little family, kind of like the Manson family. And it will help you meet people that you've long known by, you know, the Element versus a real name. Element says good, laughing out loud. I don't know his real name or her real name. Okay, so I want to tell you what I've nailed down for the ballroom, and I'm going to start naming some names of panelists. As I said, this year, thanks to you guys voting on a previous episode of Taxi TV, we're not doing a celebrity or big deal songwriter, producer, what have you, for the keynote this year. We are going to do something educational, but not boring education, really fascinating educational. I am going to have Brian McNeils, who's the Senior Vice President of Music and Soundtracks at Lakeshore Entertainment, come on a panel with John Rudolph, who's the Chairman of Elias Arts, which is a very high-end library, and Jeff Freundlich, who's the co-founder of Wild World Music / Fervor Records, who is one of my all-time favorite library people on the planet. Super, super smart. All these guys, I've spoken to them on the phone or exchanged emails with them. They've come highly recommended by people who I think are like genius level people. And they said, if you put these three guys on a panel together, and I'm going to talk to them about succeeding in the new music industry. Look, everything's changing. Fees are dropping. Music supervisors are making less. So I'm going to find out from these guys on your behalf what you need to do to ensure your place in the new music industry moving forward. I seriously think that this keynote, which is going to take place at 9:15 sharp on Friday morning, November 6th, not 9:20, not 9:25, got to be there on time. I think it's going to be worth the trip to Los Angeles just to hear these gentlemen. So that's very exciting for me because I want it to be great for you. Then I'm going to be joined by Ryan Wines, who is somebody I know and adore, who does music for advertising at a very consistently high level. And we are going to play you guys some stuff and show you, first of all, the different kinds of music, the different contexts that music is used in for advertising. Like, do you know the difference between a mnemonic, let's say, a scored ad, an ad with a song, an ad with library music in it? So we're going to play you examples and talk about all that stuff. Music library listening and Q&A panel. We're going to have Tanvi Patel, the CEO of Crucial Music, Bob Mayer, the CEO of Black Toast Music, Jeff Freundlich, once again, the Chief Operating Officer of Wild World. Ooh, I've got him down, CEO, or no, he's the co-founder and COO of Wild World / Fervor. And Miss Beth Wernick from Imaginary Friends. And I haven't 100% nailed this down. This is like a 99%er. Very likely that we're going to have somebody from Premium Beats / Shutterstock Music. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but that's all very exciting. And we're going to listen to songs and instrumentals. We're going to collect them in the ballroom just at the very beginning of the panel this year. None of those boxes out in the hallway that nobody can find. But the thing is, you got to be in there at the beginning, because once I start talking to those panelists, we're not going to let people come up to the stage and go, I was late, I got stopped in the hallway, there's a line in the ladies' room, what have you. Your stuff's got to be in the box at the beginning, and we're going to allow music from members and guests to be dropped in the box, but you have to hold up your rally badge to the people who will be there with those boxes. You don't have a badge, you don't get your music in there. Then we're moving on to Collaboration Nation with our very own Russell Landwehr, Matt Vanderboe. I can never say it, Vanderboe. I'm going to blow it on stage, Matt. I've probably blown it on stage before, right? Was it last year you were on the Successful Member panel? I think. Anyway, I'm sure I've mispronounced your name. Seth Littlefield, Stephen Giles, Carla K. Barlow, and Scott Free will be joining me, and I am specifically going to concentrate not only on the fact that collaboration is awesome and everybody should be doing it, Vanderboe, thank you, but how these folks execute it, how they do it cross-country, trans-globally, shifting files back and forth, keeping things in sync, compatibility issues with their systems, all that stuff is going to be addressed. And then I'm very proud to announce, I don't think I've said this before, maybe I have, Miss Lydia Ashton is going to be this year's John Brahaney Songwriting Award winner. And when I called her to ask her if she would be our honoree, she said, but I don't write songs. I write instrumental music. It's okay, Lydia. I am so tickled pink to have her up there. She has had 300,000 plus plays of her music. And I remember when she may still be homeschooling her kids, and went through a patch in her life where life wasn't pretty, but you know what? She's relied on her friends in the taxi community, has done super, super well, and I'm so proud. 300,000 plays of her music, and she's just like the nicest person and very hardworking, so you'll learn a lot from her. Then we're moving on to writing hit songs with hit songwriters Jason Bloom, Richard Harris, Alan Rich, Ralph Murphy, and Marlon Hookman Bonds. Their songs, and this is the really, really shrunken down list that I had to squeeze into this thing. Songs been cut by Britney Spears, Barbra Streisand, Jordan Sparks, Oak Ridge Boys, Randy Travis, Shania Twain, Whitney Houston, Rod Stewart, Jason Derulo, Catherine McPhee, Leila Broussard, New Kids on the Block, Crystal Gale, Ronnie Millsap, and many, many more. I was roughing it out on a piece of paper the other night when sitting in my office over the weekend. These guys have their songs on more than 200 million records. So I'm sure there's a lot to be learned from those folks. Then, Saturday, we're starting out with something. I know people hate to get up early, not that early, on a Saturday morning, but, I get complaint calls from music library owners pretty frequently that people don't call them back. Taxi members that we forward don't call them back. And we've reached out to the members. And they're like, I'm intimidated by the contract. Everybody says, don't sign your publishing away. They're getting bad advice. They don't understand clauses in the contract. So we've got Aaron M. Jacobson, a music attorney from here in Los Angeles, who is going to literally, remember this, make copies of your contracts and redact, your name or the company name or whatever, but you can highlight a clause and bring it up to me at the stage, and Erin will look at the clause and say, okay, she's going to read the clause and then tell you what it means, and we're going to talk about, of course, exclusive versus non-exclusive versus buyout versus royalty-free, all that stuff. That takes place Saturday morning, November 7th at 9:30 to 10:45, and it's mostly going to be your questions. Then we're moving on to the only, Robin Frederick, writing radio hits versus film and TV songs. I've asked her to specifically contrast the two this year, to play, here's a hit record for radio, here's something that works well for film and TV. Notice the fairly dramatic difference between the two. And then she'll probably, I'm assuming, play some examples of a hit song that would also work well for film or TV placement. After lunch, we're doing music supervisor listening and Q&A panel with Ryan Wines covering commercials, Naaman Snell covering trailers, Frank Palazzolo covering scripted TV, Beth Rosenblatt doing film, and another person who's a TBA. I had somebody call me today to say, I'm going out of town immediately after the road rally, and I'm worried to death that I'm going to be trying to hit some deadlines before I go, so can I bow out? And that person hooked me up with another person who is an MTV music supervisor, and I shall know probably tomorrow. So that's going to be awesome. Again, songs and instrumentals from Taxi members will be collected in the ballroom at the beginning of the panel. Only Taxi... Oops. Nope, that's not right. Oh, yes, that one is only Taxi members. For the music supervisor panel, only Taxi members can submit for that one. Then we're moving on after that to do, does your music work in this scene? I really hit it off with a gentleman, music supervisor named Frank Palazzolo, when I was at the Hawaii Songwriters thing in June, I believe. We've met on a time or two at previous Hawaii things when it was called the Kauai Music Festival. Really, really good guy, really, really smart, and works on some great stuff. He spent several years assisting Liza Richardson, who's probably the busiest television music supervisor in the industry. He is now earned his wings and is a fully fledged supervisor on his own, has been for some time, works on some great shows, and he did a thing at the Hawaii Songwriters Festival that I thought was really cool, which people submitted music, and then he played stuff that worked and didn't work against picture. And so he and I are going to grab dinner coming up soon. We're going to run a couple of listings, one for instrumentals, one for songs, and then we'll have the screeners filter the stuff and then play that music in the ballroom against picture and let you guys pick what you think worked best with picture, and then we'll see what he thinks worked best with picture. And I think that that's going to be a tremendously valuable learning experience, having him do that. Then we move on to Ralph Murphy doing at 5:30 Saturday the hit prescription. Ralph does a big study every year with a bunch of college people that sit down and do an actual statistical analysis of common traits and song forms in hit songs in both the pop and the country category, and he will be doing that presentation this year. And as for those of you who were in the room last year and saw this, things have changed pretty dramatically. So you're going to learn a lot on that one if you're doing stuff for records and radio. And then Sunday morning, something that we've never done before. We used to do it on Taxi TV back when a young man named Craig worked here, and he would fill in for me when I was out of town. Sunday morning at 9:30. And this is definitely worth getting up for. We're going to do music library speed pitching. It's going to be a listening panel, but I'm going to ask the panelists to keep their comments to like one person and just like, doesn't work because it didn't have a button ending. Boom, on to the next one. And we are going to try and get through as many songs as we can, and we've got an hour and 15 minutes. I'm getting froggy. Got to get rid of the frog. Excuse me. Then after the speed pitching, music library speed pitching thing, members and guests can pitch at that one. 11 to 12, I'm doing something that we've never done before, which is called Building Your Retirement Fund with Film and TV Music. Taxi member Chuck Schlachter is also a certified financial planner, and we're going to set up a set of assumptions. Like your first year, you don't generate any money, or maybe very little, like a few $100. Next year, maybe a couple thousand. Next year, a few thousand. Blah blah blah. And look at like a 5 and 10 year run of earning income from your music, and then putting it into something like an S&P index fund and watching how that could grow by the time you're 65, 70, 75 years old. This may be, not that I'm any financial wizard, but this may be the single best retirement fund you could find. Then, after lunch on Sunday, we're doing something that we got a little taste of last year. We have a taxi member who's quite successful, as a matter of fact, as a trailer composer. The Cinderella trailer that was just out not that long ago was done by Nick Murray. He's one of the sweetest, nicest, smartest trailer guys you'll ever meet, period. And he's a really good teacher when it comes to showing how it is trailer music, how it lays out. It's a 3-act thing. I'm not going to say more than that. But he's going to have, you're going to see it live on the screen in the ballroom, along with picture and along with the Pro Tools session. So you can really, really see how the instrumentation lays out, the arrangement, the timings, everything of how a trailer is done in Hollywood. Then we're moving on from 4 to 5 with the Making More Money with Your Music panel. Websites, blogs, micro syncs on YouTube, merch sales, CD sales, digital downloads, social media, booking gigs yourself, getting sponsors. My sponsor guy can't make it. Never mind. We're not doing getting sponsors on that one. Press releases, podcasts, industry networking are all pathways to profit. And we're going to have people like Bobby Borg, Dave Cool from not Disc Makers, Bandzoogle. A gentleman from Disc Makers is going to join us, and I can't remember his name, but he's Tony Van Veen, the CEO, was going to do it. He can't be in town that late on Sunday, so we've got their head of publishing from Disc Maker CD Baby is going to fill in for him. John Flanagan, who's one of the few non-sleazy radio promoters I know, and really, really smart, full of information. And Dan Kimpel, who writes incredible bios and press releases, and may be the definitive expert on networking in the music industry. These guys are going to give you some incredible tips. And then finally, for the big bonanza at the end of the weekend, we're going to do the Happy Ending Pitch Panel. I liked that title so much last year that I had to repeat it this year. With Michael Lloyd, 100-time platinum producer, and music supervisor Rob Shirelli, 100X platinum Grammy-winning producer and mixer. Ron Harris, A&R person, multi-platinum producer, who's done a lot of stuff for Christina. Adam Zelkine, who many of you know, multi-award winning songwriter and TV composer, and Bob Mayer, the CEO and slash creative director of Black Toast Music Library. Songs and instrumentals be once again collected in the ballroom at the beginning of the panel, and member and guest badges must be shown in order to submit. So how does that sound? Yeah. I love my fake audience. I really do. I should bring them to the road rally. So there you go. I had to do that very quickly, briskly, as it were. Took 20 minutes. Hey, Gareth, how are you, man? So there you go. It's going to be pretty awesome. Now, other things that we are changing this year at the Road Rally. One of them, not only did we add a second music library listening panel, because I know that the larger percentage of you have stuff that you want to get in front of library people. We are also adding, oh, what else am I adding? I'm adding something else and I just draw a blank. Did I make a note? Let's see. Got the dots covered. Got that covered. I didn't make a note. Oh, third open mic. This is not absolutely 100% lockdown, but I'd say it's a 99%er. Every year, people are disappointed that we've got two open mics going on. We've got open mics going on in the 200-seat theater, which is kind of like a Hollywood screening room, very dead, very kind of dark, ambient, cool vibe going on in there. Then we've got an upstairs ballroom that I think seats about 300 people at tables, more of a club vibe in that room. And I don't know, we probably get like 25 people a night times 3 nights, so that's 150 people up for songs at the open mics. So I am finalizing plans for this. It's been agreed to. We just need to work out a couple of kinks, but we are up on the balcony, the mezzanine area at the top of the escalator, for those of you who know the hotel. The guys from Westlake Audio are moving downstairs to the Westchester rooms, A and B, that room that you line up in for registration on Thursday night, and then we typically have used it for classrooms in the past. They want to be downstairs close to the bar and stuff. So we're moving Westlake Audio down there and turning that into a classroom slash store for them. And we're going to take the mezzanine and we're going to put a riser up there and have anybody who wants to can walk up and perform a song at an open mic, that you can just walk up, write your name down, and jump up on this riser and go for it, do a song, and then let the next person get up there. And that's going to be open Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, definitely like after 6:30 p.m. until whenever, and then possibly during the lunch hours. Possibly. That's the only thing I'm trying to work out right now with the hotel. We're not allowed to have a PA system for that one because the hotel actually does have probably about 50 other guests other than taxi members there. So they don't want us having a PA system blasting out into the entire lobby from up there. But for the size of the space, you really don't need one. Okay, so that's that. What to bring to the road rally? And I am going to take questions from you guys. I've got 4 questions. Are there going to be discounts at the road rally from vendors? Yes, of course. They always have discounts. Last year, I got to say, it was hard to get the guys from Westlake Pro to come back this year. We want to have gear and software available for you guys. They didn't sell that much. I don't know why. I didn't hear any complaints from members like the deals weren't good or the assortment of stuff. And it cost them thousands of dollars to come and a lot of effort to come. And they said, we didn't get that much traffic upstairs on the mezzanine, but back when we had West LA Music up there, they used to do really, really well. So we don't know what the deal is, but they are coming back this year. And like I said, they're going to have a classroom where they're going to do probably Pro Tools classes in there and have a store set up right next to the bar. Will there be live streaming? No. Too expensive. We do the road rally on a really tight budget. I usually end up writing a check for thousands of dollars out of my own pocket at the end just to make ends meet because we don't charge you guys anything for it. It's free. So to have a cameraman there shooting the whole thing, not to mention the fact there's no way we could cover all the different classes. While we're doing the ballroom stuff, we've got like 10 classes going on upstairs. We've got free one-to-one mentor sessions happening. We've got the mentor lunch roundtable thing going on. So there's just too much to cover. And too much technical stuff, as we know from just streaming this show every week. Okay, so what to bring to the road rally. This is a post that taxi member Casey Hurwitz put up on our forum, probably I think in 2000. Yeah, it says here 2012. And a lot of it it's all still very true. So this is stuff from Casey. I've added a couple of comments here and there, and then I've got more stuff added for you. Okay, here goes things to bring. Number 1, he says, is an open mind. Number 2 is pen and paper, to which I added a laptop or iPad for taking notes. Lots of notes. I'm not kidding you. Other conferences, you get the people sitting up on stage doing the, yeah, man, well, I've got a really cool job, and, I'm really cool, and gosh, I bet you wish you were as cool as me, and if you're really good, I'll hear about your music. None of that will go on at the road rally. It's all about educating people in the audience. I have questions written out in advance of the road rally. Every question I ask is aimed at the people in the audience. What do they need to know? That's why people say it's life-changing and this year is going to be better than ever, and that is not hype. You guys know that if you've been there. Casey says to bring business cards. Most important item probably. Make sure it has your name, your email address, your phone number, and a link to your music. Simple is fine. CDs. This is one of the most discussed subjects. Yes, people in the industry do take CDs, and, frankly, I personally think that if you give out, like thumb drives, I tend to take thumb drives. I'll listen to the music once, and then I wipe the thumb drive and use it for personal stuff. I've got 2 of them sitting in my briefcase right now that used to belong to taxi members or musicians of some sort. I think CDs are the best thing. Plus, you can get a lot more contact information on the outside of a CD than you can on a thumb drive. So CDs, I do not recommend burning them as MP3s, doing them as audio files, WAV or whatever, and also make sure that you have your name, your email address, and your cell phone number on the disc itself, and especially on the outside of the jewel case or the sleeve. Nothing worse than shoving a CD in a slot and not seeing the song list or the contact info once it's in the laptop or CD player. Casey also recommends putting the information on the outside of the envelopes. When I do envelopes, I use a computer printed stick-on label with that info. Track lists on the packaging are very important. Once a CD's, yeah, just said that. Never put your track list only on the CD. He could not be more right. Use audio files, not MP3s. You'd be surprised. I listen to music all the way home from the road rally. I live about 45 minutes or an hour, depending on traffic, from the hotel. After the road rally, you'd think I'd want utter silence, but, truth be told is that I get in my car, I pull out CDs, I usually stick them in my briefcase because they've been piling up in my hotel room, and the stuff that looks most promising is the stuff I shove in the player and listen on the way home. And then I'll listen to it on my way to work over the next week or so as well. So CDs are the way to go, and not every car CD player will play MP3s. I know that a lot of the more modern cars do, but not all cars. And a lot of industry people still listen in their cars, especially in LA, because we spend a lot of time in traffic. Casey says he finds for the rally that envelopes are better than jewel cases because of the ease of packing for both you and everyone to give a CD to. I'm not sure if he means envelopes. I think he means those sleeves or the paper envelopes. I'm looking around. This is paper, not exactly an envelope, but yeah, you look at this and then look at a jewel case from a width perspective. A lot easier to get a bunch of those in your luggage on the way to the road rally, and considerably lighter. Now, that said, how many CDs do you bring? I would say 15 to 20, 15 to 25, but you're going to want to, break things up. For pitching purposes, for the panels, you're going to want primarily, if not entirely, a single song or a single instrumental track on a CD. We will give you stickers to help identify what it is so that when we pull it out of the box, we know what we've got in our hand. But I can't tell you how many times people will take a really nice CD that's been mass-produced at CD Baby or Disc Makers, wherever, and it's got 12 songs on it, and they just drop it in the box. We have no idea which song it is to play, and can't tell you how many times we've started playing something and the person stands up in the back of the ballroom and shouts, "It was track number 7." So whatever you think you're going to pitch on these panels, have single CDs of those songs or instrumentals. I saw somebody posted online, or maybe it was in Casey's notes, about having stuff with like 3 to 8 songs. People in the industry are not huge on getting a bunch of stuff. They just don't have the time. It would be rare. It's not impossible, but rare that they would sit down and listen to an entire CD. Although I know many musicians feel like, geez, if only they'd listened to my whole CD, they would see how good I am and they would call me. Give them your 3 best. The last thing you want to do is walk up to somebody and say, here's a CD of my music, whether it's songs or instrumentals. It's not my most recent or best stuff. I'm working on some new stuff right now that I think is a lot better, but here you go. They're going to wait until you walk away, and they're going to chuck that sucker in the garbage because you've already told them it's not your best stuff. And it's kind of like dating. First impressions count, You don't want to meet the in-laws and show up with the spinach between your teeth and, having flatulence at the dinner table at Thanksgiving. If you want to impress people, first impressions count. And they last. Let's see. Okay, Casey says the 3 purposes that you're giving music out is to give to industry contacts. Chances are you'll give out way less of these than you might think when you're coming for the first time. Certainly be prepared with 15 to 20 of these, but keep in mind that making contacts, exchanging business cards, and following up later, such as a week later, usually works best. Industry folks at the rally get inundated with folks handing them CDs. They probably toss a lot of them in the trash. I can't say that doesn't happen, but we've all seen just ridiculous amounts of people on the forum, taxi forum, saying, I met somebody at the road rally, gave them my CD, and I got a call a week later, a month later, a year later. So a lot of deals happen. A lot of deals happen at the rally. But I would imagine that probably more of them happen. You know what? Somebody gives a CD, like if somebody is on a panel and we play a song or we play an instrumental track and the panelists raise their hand and say, I'd like to get a copy of that, inevitably they will reach out and ask for more stuff. So that one thing turns into signing 3 things, 5 things, in some cases 17 things. So that's kind of how it happens. Not every time, but usually or often enough. If you meet somebody at the bar or other setting, strike up a conversation and wait for them to ask you for a CD. Remember, I wrote an article about that in the newsletter. You always want to talk to them about them. If you sidle up to the bar to grab a beer and there's somebody from the industry there, say, man, I was in your panel this morning. You were really awesome, and thanks so much for coming out and doing this for us. We really appreciate it. How did you get started? Did you grow up here, or did you come from Indiana and now you're a music supervisor? How did you end up in LA? How did you get started? We all love to talk about ourselves. Inevitably, they will ask you for the music, and it's much less likely to get tossed than if you go, hi, my name is John Doe, here's my CD, it's awesome. You really need to listen to it because I'm that good. Let's see. Casey brings up the point people always ask if it's okay to put tracks on CDs, instrumental tracks, I'm guessing he means, that are already signed exclusively. Opinions vary in this, but Casey's opinion is that since you are often trying to show what you can do, it's fine. It can also go the other way and work against you. If somebody hears something and they love it, especially if it's another library owner, and they call you and you say, oh man, no, that track was signed already. You could say, hey, I can do another thing that's very similar for you. So it can work out. Also CDs for use in a class. In some classes, you hand CDs up to the instructor who will pick some from the audience, listen, and comment. That's the thing I want to tell you guys about. For the past 2 years, the A&R/publisher panel in the Grand Ballroom was really skinny. I mean, we had we've got about 1,000 seats in the ballroom, I think, and we had maybe 300, 350 people in the room for that. I think less and less people are interested in that, yet there are obviously a core of people that want to get their songs heard. And the genres that are typically the most popular are pop, rock, urban, country, Christian, jazz, and a couple others that aren't coming to mind right now. So we're doing something really cool this year, really cool, to give a lot more of you guys an opportunity to get your music heard by experts in your genre, and that is we're taking the second floor ballroom, which is called the Concourse Ballroom. That's where we do the open mic at night, and we do the mentor lunch at lunchtime. And we are doing a morning panel and an afternoon panel in there where we are going to have a taxi staff member playing DJ, and let's say the pop and urban panel. As a matter of fact, for that one, we're going to have Ty Knox, who's got some of the best urban ears and pop ears that you'll ever hear. The guy worked with David Foster forever and still has, immediate access to him. Let's see, who else? Susan Koch, who is one of the great pop screeners of all time here at Taxi. And she's going to be joined by Shelley Piken, who is a massive hit songwriter and close friend of Susan's. And so that's an example of a panel in that room. And that way when you walk in there that if your music gets picked, that it's going to be picked by people in your genre. So we're either doing 3 or 4, I can't remember. If we're doing 4 or 6 of those, I don't know, but we're doing a lot of them. And it's going to allow a lot more of you guys with songs that you'd like to either get picked up by other artists, cut by other artists, or pitch yourself as an artist, that we are going to have the ability to get a lot more of that stuff heard in a PA in a more targeted setting. How's that? Quite excited about that. That's a big change for this year. Also, don't forget that you're going to want to play music for your one-to-one mentors in most cases. Some people will want to just talk about something with a mentor, but most people want to play music, and frankly, a lot of deals happen because of that. So, a lot of people have their catalog of stuff on their phone. That's fine. The mentors will be able to jack into your phone. You can play it, hand them your phone, and say, here you go, want to adjust the volume, there's the volume thing. What you don't want to do is hand them your earbuds. At other people's conventions, when I do one-to-ones, it kind of grosses me out when somebody goes, dude, do you want my earbuds? Like, nah, there's crusty stuff on them. I really don't, but thanks. Let's see. Lyric sheets and rubber bands. Especially for pitching in those panels, the radio and record style listening panels, you do want to have lyric sheets wrapped around your CD or folded up and slipped in with the CD inside of the sleeve, because especially like the country, pop, and Christian guys, they are lyric fanatics. They're going to want to look at your lyric and have extra sets of lyric sheets with you. Casey talks about lead sheets. You don't need lead sheets, but he says you don't technically need lead sheets, but it's nice to have lyrics with chord changes over it. That way, if you've got somebody who wants to join you and do one of your songs for an open mic, you want to get up and have some accompaniment, they've got a chord sheet on top of the lyrics. Okay. So, got that covered already, putting your music on an MP3 player. All of the one-to-one mentors will have headphones, by the way. Some will bring their own headphones. Others will be using taxi headphones. But again, don't offer them your earbuds. Transportation. The Westin runs a free shuttle from LAX about every 15 minutes. It's on the ground floor level just outside the baggage claim area for all airlines, even domestic, international, doesn't matter. It's not really worth taking a cab ride unless you don't feel like standing outside waiting for the next shuttle. A cab ride's going to cost you about $6, $7, $8, but the cab ride's going to last about 40 seconds because the hotel is actually that close to the airport. And like I said, the shuttle is a free ride. Save the money for Starbucks. Same thing going back to the airport. And I think the shuttle only stops at like 2 other hotels, I think, other than the West End. So it's a pretty quick ride because all the hotels are clustered fairly well together. What to wear? Dress casual. Dress like this. Wear a shirt, t-shirt, jeans, sweatshirts, just regular clothes, nothing fancy. People don't get dressed up for the rally. But do bring a hoodie or a sweater with you because the ballroom, if we've got a panel where we've got 1,000 people in the ballroom and that one empties out and the next panel's only got 350 or 500 people in the ballroom, it gets downright nippy in there, and you will wish that you had a hoodie with you because it takes so long to warm the ballroom up. We frantically call the hotel, they call the maintenance guys. The maintenance guys, wherever they are, have a remote that they can control the air conditioner with, but it takes a good half hour for it to cool off or heat up just because of the volume. I mean, it's a room that holds 1,000 people, you know, a lot of cubic footage in there. So you definitely want to have a sweater or a hoodie with you. Outside, you know, we're in the cooler part of town, not the valley. We'll be fairly close to the ocean, very close to the ocean. So it tends to get, like the ocean marine layer comes in at night. It's fairly cool at night. Cool for LA is like, you know, 45 to 60 degrees. Daytime could be anywhere from 55 to 90 degrees. Rain has happened before, but it's unlikely. And you're going to be in the hotel all weekend, so you don't really need to bring an umbrella or a raincoat with you unless you've got extra room in your suitcase. Food. The hotel has a restaurant called the Daily Grill in it, which is really, really good. Not horribly expensive, but it's hotel prices. You know, if you're from Lafayette, Indiana, and you know who I'm talking about. If you're from Lafayette, Indiana, and you're used to, you know, paying, $3.50 for a cheeseburger, hotel prices probably more like $7.95, $8.95, $9.95. They do make a really good Reuben sandwich there. Great soup and sandwich combos, great salads, great Asian stuff, some sushi dishes. People have always said good things about the Daily Grill, which is much better than the restaurant the hotel used to have in that spot. And down the street is a Subway, which is like a 2-minute walk, if that, from the hotel. Right next door to the hotel is a Thai restaurant that's pretty darn good. Not amazing, not that fancy, but I ate there last year. It was pretty darn good. There's a Taco Bell somewhere on Century Boulevard. Some McDonald's, I think. Some other stuff in the area, but I wouldn't walk too far on Century Boulevard. Definitely not at night. It's not like you're going to have drive-by shootings from gang members or anything. But, I mean, yeah, if you're walking in a group of people, you're probably fine. I wouldn't wear a lot of red or blue, maybe. Just kidding. But, you know, if I were a single person of either gender walking down Century Boulevard at night, I'd be very aware of my surroundings. It's not entirely all that safe, but again, not like, oh my gosh, we're going to get mowed down by gang gunfire. It's like all airport neighborhoods. The bar at the Westin is the hub of activity all weekend long. It is the greatest place to schmooze. But again, you know, just be yourself at the road rally. Don't try to be somebody you're not. You're going to make tons of friends there. First year people are always amazed by how warm and friendly it is, and not pretentious at all. It's really unlike any other music convention maybe that you've been to, certainly of that size. But don't freak people out. Just, like I said, get them to ask you for the music is the way to go. Same thing with the taxi member. That you may have heard something get played on a panel, and you realize, oh, that's that person whose music was played on the panel. I really liked it. I'd love to collaborate with that person. Don't hit them with the hard sell. Walk up and say, dude, I heard your music played on the panel this morning. Really, really, really good. How long have you been doing that? Have you always done that genre? Start up a conversation, and at some point they're going to say, what do you do? That's when you hit them with the, hey, maybe we could collaborate sometime. You'll see. If you go there thinking that you're going to do the, hey, my name's Bob Smith, here's my music and it's great, and be successful with that, lose that now and take the softer sell approach, because it works well at the road rally. Let's see. Open mics. Get in line well before to get a slot. I think the open mics, I want to say they start at 8:30 at night and go till like 11:30. Sometimes they run a little long. It's first come, first served, and there will be people with a legal pad or a form and a clipboard outside of the open mic rooms. And they probably get there half an hour or so before the open mics open, but people will start lining up at 6:30 or 7 to meet these people with the clipboard at 8 o'clock. So I hate to say it, but you know what? Get there early. When the last panel's out at 6:30, head right to wherever you're going to eat dinner, grab your dinner, and then go up if it's really critical that you want to play in an open mic. And again, we are going to have these smaller, much less formal open mic. Not that the other ones are formal by any stretch. They're actually a lot of fun. But we are going to have that other opportunity for you, in all likelihood, up on the mezzanine. But it's not like there's going to be an audience sitting there. It's going to be an audience of people walking by. There could be 3 people seeing you play, or there could be 35. Kind of depends on what's going on at the time. Again, this is really, really important for you guys to know. In past years, we've put mail bins outside in the foyer area outside of the grand ballroom on the first floor, and in the luncheons in the second floor ballroom to collect CDs for the listening panels. This year, you just have to be in the room by the time the panel starts to get your music in the box. I'm looking around. You see me darting around. I'm looking for a road rally pass. You're going to have to hold your badge up and show the person with the bin, say, there you go. I'm registered. I've got a badge. And they'll say, great, drop your music in. We might, I'm not sure about this. We're going to work out the details, do something like we did on the Happy Ending pitch panel at the end of the road rally last year, where we recruited 4 people from the audience from each of the 4 quadrants of the ballroom, had them put on goofy jester hats and cowboy hats and whatever, so they stuck out like a sore thumb, and they worked their quadrant collecting music from people sitting in their seats. Wasn't as much pandemonium as we thought. But once the panel is started, we will not be accepting any more CDs, because it's not fair to the people who got theirs in the boxes on time. And every year we get people who walk up in the middle of the panel, 20 minutes into the panel, will walk up with the CD and go, where do I put my CD? Well, you don't. With the panel started already, and you're now standing in front of 800 people in the ballroom and distracting the guy who's playing DJ. So just don't do it, okay? Please. So there you go. That's that. Let me answer some questions that you guys sent in prior to today's show. Thank you for doing that. Luther Lewis wants to know, or says, hey, it's my first rally. Glad you're coming, Luther. You're going to love it. Speaking of open mic, is it 1 song per person? And can we do duos? Yes, you can absolutely. It is one song per person, and yes, you can do a duo. And just so you know, we will have an 88 key keyboard at the two bigger open mics, maybe or probably not at the smaller, less formal one, but the one in the 200-seat theater and the one in the upstairs ballroom. Roland generally gives us 88 weighted key keyboards, I believe, that sound really nice. We have those on stage, and Paul Reed Smith, PRS Guitars, who make acoustic guitars, believe it or not, are giving us a couple of acoustic guitars for the open mics as well. So we'll have the ability to jack in your guitar, or you can use one of the PRS guitars, can use the keyboard that's already up there. We've had people get up on open mic stages with a group of 5 people where it's been like one person on keys, a person or two on guitars, and 3 people singing vocals. Not a lot of that happens, but it does happen. It takes a little longer to set up, and then tear down from it. We kind of like it when it's just, a single or a duo, a couple people on stools with acoustic guitars, one on keyboard, one on guitar, what have you. But that's the way it goes, and it works. Paul Croteau. I don't know if you pronounce your name Croteau or Croteau, Paul, but in either case, he wants to know, how do the mentor sessions work? All right. A week before you come to LA, we are going to send you a PDF. We're going to send you a bunch of PDFs. Everything you could possibly want to know about the Road Rally will come to you. We'll send you an email with links to download these PDFs, which are extremely comprehensive. They will go over all this stuff and much, much more. One of the things that we're going to talk about in those PDFs is we will give you a list of all the one-to-one mentors, who they are and what their backgrounds are. And we beg of you, please, before you come, even if you're sitting on the plane, don't wait till the last minute. Take a highlighter or a pen or something and check off like 3 to 5 people, maybe give them a number. My first pick would be this, second person would be that, third person would be that. After you've registered for at the Road Rally, so we don't slow that line down because it's usually around 800 to 1,000 people on Thursday night. Then we send you down to the one-to-one mentor sign-up station. And we have these giant boards with tags on them for all the different people and slots that they're available. And it's really awesome when you walk up and you've got your sheet in hand and go, hi, okay, I've looked at the schedule. And the best time for me to do this would be on Saturday at 11:15 a.m. Do you have Brook Ferry available? You do? Awesome. We give you a sticker. It goes on your badge. You are done. It's very time consuming when people walk up and go, hi, my name's Bob. I'm from Minneapolis. I got a wife. I got 3 kids. I got a dog named Fluffy. I've been making music for close to 40 years, like the accent I threw in there. And I just want to know, I don't really know who I should meet with. I do rock, I do pop, I do country, I do jazz, I do some instrumentals. I really don't know who would be the best person for me. We beg of you, figure that out. You're going to be standing in the registration line and making new friends, some of whom will be new to the rally like you, some of whom will be old-timers and will be able to give you advice. But you're going to have the bios. So pick out your choices before you hit that line, because it's really, for lack of a better word, inconsiderate to all the other people behind you that if you take up, we've got 3 people working that table and 800 people to get through. If you're going to take 5 to 10 minutes figuring out who you want because you couldn't do it on an airplane or while you're standing in the registration line, it's a time suck. So please don't do that. How the mentor sessions work specifically, Paul, is you show up. We take over a restaurant at the hotel that is an empty restaurant on the first floor. We put about 30 mentors at different tables. We put their name on the table. We give them a boombox with a CD player in it and a pair of headphones. And every 15 minutes, we shoo away the other people and then let you guys come in and you look around for, oh, there's Brook Ferry over there. You walk over, hi, Brook, I'm Bob Smith from Minneapolis. How are you? Nice to meet you. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm primarily interested in pitching my stuff for film and TV. That's why I picked you. Can you please have a listen to my song, Mary Had a Little Lamb, and tell me if you think it's a good film and TV pitch? Specifically, I'd like to know if the lyrics are universal enough. And that person, in this case, Brooke Ferry, would listen to your song and give you advice. And if you still got time left on your 15-minute slot, which you probably will, you might even be able to squeeze in a second song or a more extended conversation. When the 15 minutes has passed, somebody in the room will go around and go, your time is up. And then you scoot out and the next group of people come in. So there you go. Sound good? People love the one-to-ones. Other places charge like, I don't know, 30 or 35 bucks. It's free at the Road Rally. And you meet awesome people. And a lot of deals happen because of the one-to-ones. So there you go. Paul wants to know, most importantly, will there be coffee in the mornings? Yes. The hotel used to have a couple of carts where they had like bagels and Danishes and Starbucks coffee. I think they've now, as you walk in the front door of the hotel, off to the right is like a miniature coffee house Starbucks situation. I could be wrong, but I think I noticed that last time I was there for a meeting. So yes. Coffee, donuts, fruit, maybe even cold cereal in a cup or something. I don't know. And plenty of coffee. James Thacker wants to know, attending my first road rally this year, looking forward to it. Can we use a loop pedal and or backing tracks for the open mic sessions? Yes, James, you can. Just know that if you're not an awesome guitar player, keyboard player, you're just a vocalist or a songwriter who's a vocalist, and you want to bring a track, mix minus vocal, and get your tush up there on the stage, the PA guys will, in fact, play the track, and you can get up there and sing your heart out. So, yep, you can do that. You can use the loop station. All we ask is that you don't bring anything that's so technologically advanced that it's going to take 15 minutes of setup time. Our goal is to get as many people exposed up on that stage. For the most part, the people in the audience are taxi members, but inevitably, I know every time I kind of do laps it and I can go from room to room and walk the halls and go upstairs and have a bite to eat, what have you, almost every time I walk into those open mic rooms, I'll see a music library owner tucked away in a corner, or an A&R person sitting at a table with a couple of taxi members that he or she knows. It's almost always somebody or a couple or a few somebodies in the room. They kind of drift in and out, and they'll go from one to the other. It's a great chance to make a great impression. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Wow, I nailed it. My goal was to get through all that stuff in an hour, and I did it. I haven't talked about the classes yet. Angel just got the class titles for this year from the people, but to give you an idea, this is last year's list, and this is only a part of last year's list, and it's this long. I think we've got like 80 or 90 classes. We tried to make it shorter this year, but we couldn't. But, I mean, classes, tons of classes for people, tons of audio engineering classes, and quite a few of them are going to be specifically targeted, because I begged our people who are teaching to do this, for people who own a laptop or a desktop computer and a $100 microphone and have a very basic rig. How do I record myself at home because I am gear phobic? We're going to solve that problem for you at the Road Rally this year. And if you know what, if you can't make it to one of the classes, there will be 2 or 3 others that will cover that stuff. You're going to love it. Gareth Ebb says, take my advice, you won't get much out of a mentor class unless you're clear about who you want. If you make lots of ad-friendly inserts, then queue to meet the CEO of a library that specializes in that. See if they want your stuff or what they say, etc. Yeah, I'm telling you, the worst thing you can do is say, I do rock, I do pop, I do country, trying to show that you do a million things. People in the industry generally don't go, oh my gosh, I've got to sign this person. Tell them what you are best at, and then give them something that shows that you're really good at it, because you want to impress them. At that point, they're going to say, wow, this is really good. Do you do anything else? Know who you want to meet with before you get in that line. Are you going to use guidebook for the org dot for classes? I don't know what that means. Excuse me, but we are going to, you will get a schedule like this with the ballroom stuff laid out for you, and you will get a grid showing when all the classes are. Sadly, it's impossible to make the classes start at the same times as the ballroom schedules. So there are times where you're going to be dying to go to a class and dying to go to a panel. A lot of people will have a friend of theirs that they brought with them, or a friend that they made at the rally, and you're both going, like really dying to go to this guy's class and that panel. So you kind of divvy it up. One of you goes to the class and takes notes. The other one goes to the panel and takes notes. Any Christian music breakout sessions? Yes, Gloria. Absolutely. Oh, God, what's her name? I can't think of her name. Oh, I'm dying. Anyway, one of the sweetest, most wonderful people on the planet, and she has just some of the best Christian ears that you'll ever meet, and is such a wonderful person. I can't believe I can't remember her name. I'm drawing a blank, but she will be doing the Christian thing, the listening, Christian-specific breakout thing. I'm trying to get a guy who is really big in modern gospel to be there. Haven't made that connection yet, but I've been told that he's somebody that would do it, and we're trying to make the stars align to make that happen. I don't know. I just can't make any promises. Somebody just said, brand new, coming from Australia. Charles, you're going to find out there will be a lot of people from Australia there. As a matter of fact, Gary Smith, one of our panelists, who's also a music library owner and teaches at a couple of universities, I believe, in Australia, he's bringing a gaggle of students with him from Australia. But yeah, we always have people. Nope, Lynn Barrington's not coming this year, Adriana. Will Matt Hurt demonstrate writing a music cue at the Road Rally? Matt usually does a thing with Dave Walton and John Mazzei called the 5-year plan, but this year they're going to do something that's more like deconstructing a cue instead of the 5-year plan. So there you go. Am I bringing my radio-controlled helicopter this year? I am actually bringing a very small 14-inch or 20-inch wingspan Piper Cub plane that there's a certain time when I can sneak into the ballroom when nobody's in there, and I am going to take advantage of the fact that I can do that. Yes, I will be flying a plane in the ballroom this year when we don't have 1,000 people in there. Will you have a collaboration class at any set time? Yes, we are doing a collaboration panel in the main ballroom this year with Russell Landwehr. He was really the guy that inspired this whole idea. And Matt Vanderboe, Seth Littlefield, Stephen Giles, Carla Barlow, and Scott Free. And I guarantee you will learn everything you need to know about collaboration at that. And I'm sure that there will be a breakout class or two on collaboration as well. But this panel is going to be pretty spectacular because I know all these people and handpicked them. Am I going to post some of this stuff on YouTube after the rally? I've told the story 1,000 times. 1 year, we always do audio recordings of all the panels because we transcribe them for the newsletter. 1 year, I spent like 60 hours editing all the stuff, putting it into nice, neat little packages and taking out bad words and burps and whatever. And that's because hundreds of people were begging, please, please make it available. So this is before you could put MP3s on the internet. And we made it, it was like something like $5.95 per panel and maybe like $50 for the entire weekend, whatever it was. It was really cheap. And I think like 6 people actually bought it. And boy, was I upset that I spent all that time editing. So we've never done that. Plus, we know if the stuff is available online that people won't get off their butt and actually come to the rally. And those of you who've actually been to a road rally would be happy to tell the others, I'm sure, that so much of the road rally experience is being there. It's the community, it's the networking, it's having a fellow member introduce you to another library person or a music library person or a music supervisor, what have you. Connections are made by being there. So we don't sell it. Breakout classes sponsored by Noxzema. Very funny. You must be older if you remember Noxzema, because I know I do. Okay, any questions from you guys? Country Pound will teach you how to fix your truck and get your dog to come back. Very funny. Fluffer Puff says, I'm disabled, I can't come. I'm sorry, but the hotel is very, you know, they've got ramps. We've even had disabled panelists that the hotel staff picked up the wheelchair, put them on the thing. They've provided ramps before. It's fairly LA. It's a lot of laws for disabled folks, so I think you'll be well accommodated if you can come. Crashkle says, can't come that year. Does that mean I never get to know your secret formula for getting more forwards? I am going to start out this year, rather than doing much of a welcome speech, which is usually about 3 minutes long at the very beginning of the road rally. Jason Bloom is going to kind of be my warm-up guy. He'll do like 3 to 5 minutes at the most, get you fired up, and then yours truly will hit the stage and bring the tone of the room down considerably. Jason, you know, every time I follow Jason or Stephen Memel, I think, why do I do that to myself? It's like, I'm just, you know, it's like if you're an acoustic guitar singer-songwriter following the Rolling Stones. Not opening for them, but following them. Anyway, I am going to do 5 minutes that's going to tell you how to get 10 times more placements than you are now. I still haven't written it out yet, but you're going to sit there and go, I can't believe I'm not doing this stuff. And I don't know if I think I'm going to have to reward Road Rally members for showing up. So they're going to get it. I'm sure they'll spill the beans on the forum. An EDM class, I think, I'm almost positive. Again, I don't have the final class list, so I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that we do have an EDM class or two. Can I have a substitute name as my original guest? I don't really understand. Ever a Smile, are you saying I had somebody signed up as guest and now I need to take them out of the database and put in another guest? Yes. Call the staff and explain that to them. I'm sure that they will accommodate you. Waiting for more questions to roll in. Come on, more questions. By the way, some of you guys, just to let you know, we found out a couple of years ago that people were bootlegging the badges for the road rally. We didn't bother because we didn't think anybody was dishonest, but we found out, you know, the badges are roughly that big. And we found out that people were scanning them on color copiers or scanners and then just photoshopping in the new year on them. So they would take a 2012 badge and use it for 2013 so that they didn't have to pay for a membership, or they could bring 10 of their friends. We now, of course, thank you to the member who told us about that. We went, duh. we now are coming up with different badge art every year and making it hard to scan, art that is specifically really hard to scan well too. So, but every year we get people to call and say, look, we're a family band. There are 4 of us in the band, husband and wife and 2 kids. Is it possible to get extra guest passes? Yes. The more, the merrier at the road rally. So yeah, band members sometimes will call and say, can I get a couple extra passes for the band members? Yes. By the way, the hotel is largely sold out. We're going to find you guys other available rooms in the immediate neighborhood. Inevitably, like 10 or 15% of the people that reserved rooms will, for lack of a better word, chicken out like the day before and cancel their rooms. So rooms do open up, like, but not many. I'm talking like maybe 10 rooms a night for each of the nights open up right before the road rally. But other people that are outside the road rally can grab them in the hotel, would rather sell them at full rate or some much higher rate than the road rally discounted rate. Excuse me. Must be time for Rockstar. Anyway, so I think there's still some rooms on the executive levels, like floors 11 and 12, and they're more expensive, but you get free breakfast and free appetizers, and use of the lounge. Please, dear God, if you have a key to the executive lounge, don't bring in 200 of your friends like a few people did a couple of years ago, and I got into really big trouble. They woke me up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and said, come down here right now. They almost didn't want us back at the West End. The West End is pretty famous for treating us super well. But, just because you've got a key that goes to the lounge, they really don't want to have 200 people in there partying till all hours, and stinking the place up with beer and whatever. So just behave yourselves, please. If you need roommates, people do post on the forums at forums.taxi.com looking for roommates. Right, Paulie, breakfast doesn't come, they don't serve breakfast. It's not like a La Quinta where, or, whatever, one of those places where you get the free, breakfast with your room. Not that kind of hotel. Fluffer Puff, I like the Rockstar with gluten. They really have that? Yes, there's a parking fee for guests staying at the hotel, but they discount it pretty substantially for taxi members. Ann House says Michael should just be saying, don't be an ass. I was trying to skirt the issue, Ann. I'm glad you're coming back this year, by the way. Do the mentors and pros come for the whole weekend, or are they just there for the day of their presentation? Both. We've got some people coming back. Some of them stay in the hotel and are there for the better part of the weekend. Bob Mayer from Black Toast is one that I think we've got him there on Friday for. I think he's doing one-to-ones, which is amazing to me. He's awesome, and then he's doing a listening panel, and then he's doing another listening panel. I believe the final listening panel on Sunday for the. Let me check before I speak. Yes, Bob Mayer is going to do the happy ending pitch panel on Sunday. So, one last chance to get somebody who I think is one of the best library people in the industry to hear your music. Excuse me. Yes, no continental breakfast. Jim Carvalho says he has heard the room parties are really cool. They are. There have been parties on the hotel's rooftop, which I've also gotten called about at like 3 in the morning from security, which I really love because I wake up at 6:30 in the morning to get the day going at the road rally. But I understand. You know what? People are there to have fun, and so people end up on the rooftop, and there's like a big cloud of smoke hanging over them. I guess maybe that's cigarette smoke, maybe not. I don't know. Um, just don't fall off the roof. That's all I ask. Nobody falling off of any rooftops. Um, it'd be cool to see the forum names on the badges. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Um, we're lucky we can pull off what we do. I'm telling you, you cannot possibly imagine. You really can't, Paulie, the amount of work that goes into this thing. And so far, it's all just been Angel and I. I'm telling you, I had so much jet lag last week. I flew 21,000 miles in a week and was 10 hours ahead of LA time and came back from that and went right back to work on the road rally and haven't stopped all weekend. And here it is Monday again. Um, and just so many little details. Things like telling Roland, make sure there's a pedal with the keyboard. Make sure we get 2 keyboards. Make sure that they're at the hotel at this time. Oh, you can't deliver them? Now we got to send somebody an hour and 10 minutes away to get them? Hey, what the hell? You let us use the keyboard? Sure. Just a million little details. Yes, Westons are dog friendly. Boarding a dog is expensive. There is a kennel right next door to the Weston, funny enough, and the barking dogs will sometimes wake you up depending on which way the wind blows. And if the barking dogs don't, sometimes the jets taking off from LAX will wake you up. I personally, my room always faces the runways, and they don't bother me. There's something I like, but I can't sleep worth a damn on a plane. But I do find that the sound of jets taking off at 6:30 in the morning somehow is relaxing to me. I don't know why. Hey, you guys get the easy part. That's right. Casey, in all the years we've done the rally at the Westin, I have never been to the swimming pool. Um, who needs sleep? I'm telling you, just every year, I hate it when I walk into the 9:30 a.m. panels. I almost did away with them this year, but then I thought, you know what? For the people that show up, they're going to get great information. But what was it? Oh, the 9:30 to 10:45 Understanding Music Library contracts. I know everybody thinks they know all this stuff. You can't know it all. I've been in the industry a long time and deal with a lot of this stuff. I found out some really interesting stuff just last Thursday, I believe, or Friday, about royalty free. There were a couple of us discussing this on the staff. One of the guys on the staff, who is a very experienced composer, and he and I were both shocked that royalty-free libraries often, or sometimes, and or often, do get you paid performance royalties. And the person at the library said, "What do you mean they don't get paid performance royalties? Of course they do." I went, "Really? That's interesting. Okay, we'll be asking you about that on stage, and we'll be asking the music attorney about that as well." And then Sunday morning, you know what? Maybe the best chance to get your music into a library, and there's going to be one library there that you've probably never done business with, and you're going to want to. By the way, we also have the Senior Vice President of Scorekeepers there, who's also an Emmy-winning music supervisor, and he's like one of you guys. He's a composer, arranger, engineer, producer, mixer, and he's also the Senior VP of Scorekeepers. He is going to be there on that panel that morning, 9:30 to 10:45 in the morning. And remember, if you're not there when that panel starts and you don't have your music in that box, no matter how much you cry or whine or threaten, unless you're well armed, your music ain't going in the box because it's just not fair to the people who got there. So set your alarm clock. Russell says sometimes his wife makes him sleep in the kennel. I don't want to hear about your private life. We should get Airborne to be a sponsor along with 5 Hour Energy. Well, 5 Hour Energy might conflict with our friends at Rockstar who aren't returning our calls this year because our main person is out on maternity leave. We got like 6 other people and they're not responding. So if we don't hear from them soon, 5 Hour Energy may be a sponsor of the Road Rally or one of those other companies. What was the other one you mentioned? Airborne. That's a good idea. You know, it always amazes me with people. I'm kind of germophobic, not horrendously so, but did I take little Clorox wipies with me on my recent trips and wipe? I read an article said the germiest 2 things on the airplane are your tray table and the latch that undoes it, and the little air nozzle that we all reach up and tweak. Think about it. You know, those planes do 2, 3, 4, 5 flights a day, depending on how long their routes are. And you've had all these germy people flying from all over the world going in their hands and then turning off the air because it gave me a little chill. I got to turn off the air. Will there be Rockstar with sugar? We honestly don't know until it gets there. They just Red Bull, thank you. They just send us what they send us. Fluffer Puff says, "What do you consider well armed?" Davey Mays coming over from the UK. As I mentioned on last week's show, after flying back from Israel to Los Angeles and only being on the ground for like 3 days in Israel, it was like doing a road rally trip in reverse. And all I could think on that plane was, man, I appreciate those members that fly halfway around the world just to come to the road rally, spend 3 days, and then go back to work afterwards. Great new level of appreciation, so thank you. Will we have, this is a great question, Gloria. Will we be having the evening mentor sessions like Road Rally 2013? Yes. They are called, we used to call them drive-bys, and basically those are just walk up. We've got mentors sitting at tables with boom boxes. Anybody, a member or a guest, can walk up, get their stuff heard or ask questions. We have eliminated the industry stuff like how do I write a better bio or is it time for me to get a manager? There was very little interest in that stuff. Really came down to I just want somebody to hear my music. So we've pared it down a little bit, but yes, at least 2 of the nights, maybe Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or Friday and Saturday, I don't know. But yes, we now call them song bars. We ripped that off from Apple, the Genius Bar. Last year we had like a song bar, an industry bar, and a production bar. This year it's just called song bars, I believe, and anybody can walk up. And we will have, somebody there who can comment on your recording and mixing, somebody who can comment on your song, and we'll try and mix it up with, people who are multi-genre and some instrumental people. Is a photo drive-by a drive-by shooting? No. It's funny, we added the drive-bys or the bars, I don't know, probably 3-4 years ago. It's one of those things, everybody loves it. They take place on the 2nd floor, kind of across from the open mic that's held in the ballroom with the big round tables. All right, let's wrap this puppy up. Couple more questions and then we are going to close this show out because I promised myself that I was going to write at least 1 panel's worth of questions every night before I leave work. And considering I worked all weekend long, and my wife said, "Honey, will you be home for dinner tonight?" And my answer was, "Not until I write a panel's worth of questions. I want to get started on those." Mentioned earlier, Charles, somebody said that USB drives might be considered a security risk. They are, God only knows what's on those things. CDs. What's John Asher doing this year? I believe John Asher is going to be involved in a lot of stuff. He's awesome. We love him to death, and he, I'm pretty sure, is also hosting the open mic in the 200-seat theater. And Crazy Carl will, of course, be hosting the open mic in the upstairs ballroom, probably in his bathrobe again. Okay, now we're talking about booze. If you have over 80 clinics, you should look into Guidebook. Yeah, you can't post a link on there. I dropped my pen. Guidebook. I will check it out. We do have an app, a taxi app. Not a lot of people use it, but we post the schedule on the app. Thanks, Rob Spencer. Thanks, Andy. Hey, Andy Gabrish, how are you, man? All right, that's it for now. Most likely I will be doing a show next week, and I know that we have Ronan Chris Murphy booked for a show on October 28th, I believe is the date, fairly close to Road Rally, and I'll probably have Robin Frederick join me for a show before we do the Road Rally. So there you go. Thank you very much for joining me for this. I'm telling you, every year I say it, you guys have been there a bunch of years, know, I don't make idle promises. If I tell you it's going to be the best Road Rally ever, it will be, and I just hope you guys enjoy it. Talk to you soon. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye from Los Angeles. Good night. Yeah, baby.